my gosh, these are like really flying today. But anyways, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Teresa. I do videos on whatever I want because I don't like putting myself in a box. And today I thought I would do a Q&A video, and I'm just going to get right into it because I feel like my answers are going to be like kind of lengthy. And yeah. So, let's just get into it. So the first question is, what's the biggest assumption you want to clear up about adoptees? So, for those who are new to my channel, I am adopted. I have a closed adoption. I was adopted from India and then was adopted by parents who are white who brought me to North Dakota. And so, the biggest assumption I want to clear up is that we did not all grow up rich. I totally get why people think this because it's really easy to just assume that adoptees, all came from terrible backgrounds and went to people who were rich. Obviously, with adoption, you need to have money saved up. It's obviously more expensive than just biologically having kids, especially when you choose to do interracial. Sure, yeah, interracial adoption or adopt across seas. Um, but yeah, we're not all rich, and I can really understand this specifically with my family just because all three of us are adopted. Two of us were adopted from India, and then my parents did send us to all three of us to a private Catholic elementary school. And I totally see why people might have that assumption with my family. But truth is, we grew up in North Dakota, grew up in a town where oil field was the industry to be in. And if you really wanted to make bank, that was the industry to be in. My parents did not do that. They worked at the college, and that's how they made their money. My dad has a master's degree. Before they even adopted us, well, he got a tenure at the college, and then that's literally how they got their money. So, and we grew up middle class. We had a very average house. We did grow up in the location of town that got its nickname because um, way back in the day. That is where the rich people lived, but we literally just lived there because it was close to my parents' work. We were literally 2 blocks away from the college, so that's literally the only reason why we lived there. So adoptees do not just grow up rich. So that's my biggest assumption to clear up. I did see a article that went into like adopted parents are more involved with their kids. Um, and I definitely agree with that from at least like the academic point of view. However, that's really hard for me to talk about, I guess, just because my parents are educators. So, yeah. But outside of that, they were very involved, pushing us to be heavily involved in church, um, and activities and stuff like that. So, but I do know people who do not have adopted kids who are very heavily involved in their kids' lives, who are definitely way more emotionally involved in their kids' lives. And I just love that because my parents definitely were not involved in that aspect of our lives, mine specifically. But moving on. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of talking a bit quiet this time just because I don't know if these guys upstairs are awake or not. They were up in the middle of the night when I was up, and then I don't know if the people across the hall from me are up. So I'm just kind of being mindful of my neighbors. How did you realize you had curly hair? Your curls are beautiful. Thank you. So I literally washed my hair one day before going to the hairdresser and then dried it naturally. And I got my ringlets, told my hairdresser about my DNA results that said I'm more likely to have slightly wavy hair. She looked at me and was like, "Girl, that's not slightly wavy hair." And that's how I figured it out. She's like, "If that's how your hair drying naturally, that's not wavy hair." So easy as that. Next one is, what's your experience with hirsutism? And do you have PCOS with it? So I do have hirsutism, which is just excess hair on different parts of the body, mainly my chin. My sideburns tend to get, I just shaved this morning, um, really hairy as well. And then I do have excess hair on my abdomen. And I did get hormones tested in October, and those are actually fine. And I don't have PCOS with it. So it is totally possible to have hirsutism and not have PCOS with it. Now, if you are a specific race, like I am South Asian, you're just more likely to have hirsutism. And there is an increase of PCOS with that, um, with being South Asian as well, but it doesn't mean that you will end up with PCOS. So there's that. Um, and of course, there's also a risk of hirsutism and PCOS with being obese and overweight. And yeah, um, I think I just read there's something with like hirsutism and early precocious puberty as well, which I did have, but I don't think there was any like sign of that when I was younger. But yeah, I mean, I do remember my first like exam as an adult with a gynecologist, and they were testing like my abdomen, and it was really hairy. And she lifted up my shirt and literally just stopped for what felt like 5 whole minutes and then proceeded to like push on my stomach. And it was just like so awkward because like I never thought of like my stomach as like an issue and having like hair on it as an issue. Um, so yeah, that was really an awkward experience. But my chin has always been something I've been cautious of. But now, even after getting tested, I am on birth control. I am on spirolactin, I believe is how you pronounce the medication. And it's helped a lot just slow down the growth. And yeah, and now I only have to shave like 2 to 3 times a week. And also, what's really nice about it is it really helps not having to shave like the rest of your body as much. So, moving on, did you fear having to move back home after losing your job in February? Yes. So, I haven't talked about it on here just because I haven't really wanted to talk about it. But I did end up losing my job back in February. I didn't even have the job for 2 months. And I did fear, having to move back home. And that just wasn't in the cards for me. I was very stubborn about making it work here because I have my doctor here, and that was the whole reason for moving here. And I remember a few days after um, losing the job, I went to the doctor for my allergy shot, and I just saw her standing there, and I thought, you know what, this is all worth it if I get to still have you as a doctor. Like, this is all worth it. And I actually love being here. Um, I went back home like almost a month ago, and it just felt weird. It didn't feel like home. It was just weird. And I don't know. It wasn't in the cards for me to move back home. And I really thought the other day, I was like, really, what was the reason for wanting to go back home? To be with mom and dad? Like most people, I think, are 26, their parents are probably late 40s, early 50s, if not maybe like mid 50s. My parents are in the mid 60s and they're getting close to retiring, and they deserve to experience being empty nesters. And so the thing is, like, losing a job can happen no matter where you're at, no matter how old you are, whether or not you have a spouse. And so I just was like, you know what? It's best to just use your resources and try and make this work. And then, funny enough, the other night, I was listening to Legally Blonde, the musical. If you know, you know. Um, and it was the finale. I think I'll find my way. And Elle sings, but even if I crash and burn 10 times a day, I think I'm here to stay. I'm gonna find my way. And I just kind of like broke down in tears because it's exactly how I feel about my situation. So the answer to that is yes. The next thing is, I know you said you aren't much of a goal person, but what is one of your goals now that you are starting a new job? So I'm starting a new job actually Monday. I was supposed to start it this week. However, my dishwasher decided to start leaking and pooling up with water. And then my kitchen sinks, both of them because it's a double sink, decided to not drain properly and then start like flooding. And I was not gonna like leave the apartment until it got fixed. And so I was supposed to start like last week, Tuesday, but I'm gonna start Monday. So one of my goals is literally to really get a hold on finances this time. I am so proud of myself that I was able to go just a little bit over a month without an income. That's really impressive because it's really hard. We all kind of complain about being broke, not having enough money, but when you think about it, it's like, are you able to put food on the table? Yes. Are you able to pay off your bills? Yes. Was I able to pay off, the medical expenses? Yes. I was able to have an unpredicted surgery during that time. Yes. Like, it's really difficult to kind of think about because in one part of my mind, I'm like, oh, yeah, it kind of feels like I was kind of living in poverty. But then it's like, no, because I've been able to provide for myself because I've had money saved up. And even though door dashing has been a terrible thing for me, um, I've been able to afford life. And so I really want to put a specific amount like away so that obviously when something happens, I'm good. And then I saw a couple like budgeting things online, and somebody said something really smart of like, try buying cheap food. Hang on, you guys. I need water. Well, okay. They said buy in bulk really cheap food and then make food for a few days and then freeze it. Now, the good thing about living alone and it just being me and not eating a lot and really like the help of this medication is the fact that I can make really like two recipes or even one recipe and it's gonna hold me over a long time. Like I'm gonna have a lot of leftovers usually. Um and so if I make two recipes that usually will serve two people, so they say, that's gonna make like a lot of food. And so I really want to start doing that and then just freezing the rest. Because even though I'm gonna be home at like 4:30 realistically, I get off at 4, be home at 4:30, and I will have time to actually make something. Let's get real. I'm not gonna want to like take the time and energy to actually make something. I'm still gonna want something that's gonna be able to get shoved in the microwave and warmed up. But I'm still gonna wanna try and incorporate, like, fruits and vegetables into my diet, and the thing is, like, I was getting really frustrated because I was like, "I'm not really making, like, meals anymore," and I wanna get back to that. Um, and so, yeah, and it's this constant struggle, I feel like, living on your own and also, like, being on a weight loss journey of like, yes, I don't need that much food, but then also like you wanting to get enough food so you don't have to constantly like go to the store. So that's like one of my goals is to like stock up enough. So honestly, maybe like you only go to the store like twice a month or something. I don't know. Um, so that's one of my goals, along with obviously like putting a certain amount away into the savings account, a certain amount into checkings, and like not touching the savings account unless like something terrible happens because I am always in the mindset of this isn't permanent. Something can happen and they can let you go at any moment, unfortunately, just because of past things that have happened in my life. So, yeah. Um, just a few more here. Did you ever go to prom as someone who's a lesbian? I did not. So I kind of did view prom as like a normative thing. The other thing is prom always happened, I believe, on a Saturday night, and it always happened when we had a show to do. It would happen during the spring musical, not spring musical, the spring play, and plays were my stronger thing out of plays and musicals. I'm not much of a singer, and so plays was really where I shined. And so I never went to prom. Everyone would just like complain about it, honestly, the next day. And then, yeah, they were all tired the next day. And I'm like, somebody's got to like hold it up here for the rest of the cast. So I never went, and I don't feel like I missed out on anything. Also, I never understood spending that much money on everything really for one night. Like, it never made sense to me. And now that I think about it, it's kind of the same concept of like a wedding, but I feel like a wedding is like a different situation because, like, I don't know, that has more like meaning to me than like prom. Like, prom, you're going with somebody who is not going to be like your forever person. So, yeah, I never went. Um, I did end up going to a few dances in high school. Well, really, I went to Sadie Hawkins. And of course, there was drama. Some girl ended up crying in the bathroom. And yeah, like, yeah, it was dumb. And then I, of course, went to like the elementary ones. I think we had dances in fifth and sixth grade. Um, and those were fun. But yeah, never went to prom. Don't feel like I missed out on anything. Two more. Who are the greatest Broadway performers of all time, in your opinion, and why? I think first and foremost, Julie Andrews, because she is so well known across all generations. I just watched her in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, and before she even sang the first song that Cinderella sings, I just cried. She literally breathed, and I cried. Um, I've always said once she goes, because unfortunately we're all gonna like kick the can at some point. Um, Not to make this dark or anything, I won't be okay. And she just, there is something about her that just brings such like a light to every character. And it's like, oh my God, I just watched her as Cinderella, like I said, and there was just something about her that just was Cinderella. Like her voice was just so princessy. And I don't know. She's so mesmerizing. Like, and I love her. And she can really just, she's so diverse as an actor. Um, from being Cinderella to obviously Maria in Sound of Music to Mary Poppins. Like, she literally raised us theater kids. Changed my mind on that. She literally, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is in the dictionary, and she taught all of us our scales. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is literally what we use in choir, how we warm up as theater kids. Like, she raised us. Like, and honestly, like, Sound of Music is probably one of the first musicals that a lot of us watched that introduced us to musicals. Maybe Mary Poppins, but I think the first movie musical I ever watched was Sound of Music. I don't think it was Annie. It might have also been Grease, but I honestly think it was Sound of Music. So for females, hands down, Julie Andrews. Um, I think for males, I feel like I just cannot say Julie Andrews and not say Dick Van Dyke for kind of the same reasons. Like, he is just mesmerizing um, on screen. I think he's well known across generations. When he is Bert, you guys, in Mary Poppins, it's like your mind is just with it. Like, your mind is like a little kid, and your imagination is just like there with him. I can't. Somebody else, though, I would say for males would definitely be Gene Kelly, because Gene Kelly, man, that dancing, ugh, and him in, excuse me, guys, him in, it's Singing in the Rain, but it's the Make It Laugh number. Iconic, like iconic. And just like his face in the Make It Laugh number. I can't. I literally can't. Like, he's just so good. Um yeah, like he's just done so much and is a joy to watch on stage. But and also with both Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, like it's hard to find people that like haven't done anything bad in life, and those two like didn't really do anything bad in life. And Dick Van Dyke, you guys, is going to be 100 in December, and I pray nothing bad happens to him, because I need that to happen. Like, I need it to happen. I don't think I'm going to be okay if something happens to him, like generally. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents of best Broadway performers of all time. I think for people of color, though, because I should talk about this, I can just do females because unfortunately I don't know males that well. I'm so sorry. For females, I would definitely say Audra McDonald. Sorry, her voice is iconic, and there's a reason why she is always on top of everybody's list. Audra McDonald, period. That woman walked so women like Ariana DeBose and Cynthia Erivo could run. There you go. Okay, last question. What has been the most difficult thing with being on Fentanyl and Topramate thus far? Well, definitely this is TMI. Like the constipation, I feel like has been more consistent than just dealing with it with just the Fentanyl alone. That's been really like hard to deal with. Because constipation definitely does play into your weight loss journey. And it could totally be the reason why like you don't see that weight loss. So that's been difficult. The hair loss has been kind of difficult. I literally showered last night and my like middle section of my head, I kid you not, I was like, oh my God, this is so dry. Like, why is it so dry? And I raked through my hair and just a huge chunk of hair decided to like fall out. And I was like, oh my God. But luckily, my hair grows back really fast. So I'm kind of like, okay, like, and I went and got my hair trimmed last week, Friday, and the lady completely new. She was fine. Was like, you have a lot of hair. And I was so happy to hear that considering how much hair I've been losing. So that's been really hard to deal with. And then I think just this like slowness of it all. I obviously didn't lose anything this week. I stupidly ate 3 pieces of pizza last night and then ended up having like issues early this morning. Um, I don't know. And that's just kind of been frustrating. I'll see my doctor in 4 weeks for a different, like, not annual, but for the Well Women's checkup. I'll just say it for the Well Women's checkup. And I'm trying to remind myself that this checkup is not for weight loss focused reasons. I would obviously like to be a few pounds down from where I was the last time I saw her, especially because last time I saw her, I was literally the exact same from the previous time before that when I saw her. So I would like to be at least like 3 pounds down in total. So really just losing like 2 more pounds ish. Um, yeah, like 2 more pounds would be great. So we'll see if that happens. And then I'm trying to remind myself too, like there's a lot of playing around to happen as well. Um, and I've been trying to debate again if, how often to weigh, if that's a good idea. And I think it ultimately it is just because I need the data um overall and to realistically see like what's working and what's not working. If working out is putting myself in too big of a calorie deficit, then I need to know that and adjust accordingly. If not working out is actually helping me lose weight, then I need to know that. And the only way to tell if that works is if I weigh, sorry guys, my leg's twitching. Okay. If I weigh myself on a semi consistent basis. So, yeah, the only way to tell if certain things are working is if I weigh myself on a somewhat consistent schedule. So, yeah, it's just kind of been difficult all around. So, I don't know. And I have this fear that, like, by June, that, maybe the medications aren't going to work and that we just have to stop all of this altogether. And I just don't want that to be the case. Um, I don't want that. I don't want it to be the case, especially when I know what the lowest my body can go to. Because, like I said, if 128 is the lowest my body can go to, then great, fantastic. And I'm okay with that. But yeah, I don't want to get to June and us make the decision of like, hey, your body's really just like not budging or whatever, and we just have to stop all of this. So, yeah. The good thing too is I'm trying to remember like May is not the end all be all point. Like, you still have the rest of May to lose weight because it'll be May 6th, my appointment. And then literally June, like over half of June or whatever, to keep losing weight. So, yeah. And like I said, I've said it since starting, the new dose of Tobermate. I want to do it for the full 3 months because that's what they keep saying. Like, you need to do it for a full 3 months before you and your doctor decide to either try something else or discontinue. Because I will have an income now, depending what that amount ends up being, especially with taxes deducted. Oh, I don't know. I may or may not consider that other medication that we had talked about before. I still don't know because I'm still weary about the morning situation. Because if I had to take it an hour before each morning and I have to leave here super early, yeah, I don't know. Because I like the fact that I can literally take this right when I wake up and then eat right away. Because yeah, depending when I leave here and stuff. Because I don't know yet how much time I need to get ready and then what time I need to leave here to beat traffic and whatever. Because it's like half an hour to get from here to work. So yeah. I don't know. So, anyways, that's everything, you guys. I hope you guys had a really good week. I hope it wasn't as crazy as my week. I hope this next week is good for you guys as well. If you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, hit subscribe down below, hit the bell for notifications. I post every single weekend, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.